And then we got to Samoa Joe, the new AEW World Champion, in the ring for a promo in a suit with the belt. And it's what a fucking heel demeanor he's got, and that sniff and that look he has on his face. And the crowd is chanting, "Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe." He just beat MJF, and it's part of the devil's machinations. And he's another of the most popular heels because he's one of the few people on the roster that are actually good at what they do, no matter what it is they do.
Because he's a pro wrestler.
But anyway, so now that we've established that Joe is another one of these popular heels, not his fault, folks. It's the atmosphere he's in. He announces the changes to the way that people are going to challenge for the title around there. No more whining and no more hoe-ass comments on Twitter. Bring your record and your reputation to the championship committee, and when they put you in the ring with me, I'll stomp your ass. And they're chanting for Joe. Yeah, why not, right?
When they first started chanting, "Thank you, Joe," his reaction, he did not expect that. Even he couldn't hide the smile.
Well, he knows that they're literally in a fucking bizarro world where the more heinous things you do, I'm waiting for a guy to come out dressed as a hunter and not use a gun, but just butt fuck Bambi to death. Just butt fuck Bambi until the life leaves Bambi's body right in the middle of the ring, and the fans in AEW will cheer that son of a bitch.
That's a very interesting analogy that you...
Anyway, well, I can't wait to see Travis's thumbnail.
Travis, do not incorporate any of that. We won't be able to use it.
Wait. So they're chanting for Joe, and they play Swerve's music. And here comes Swerve. And he's got Nana and the whole group of their heels, and they come out. And how, if they want the jobber heels to get over, how can they get any heat coming out with Swerve? Because they're going to cheer Swerve, and then they're just stooges for him anyway. But if they come out on their own and actually do something, they might get some heat. But it kind of drags Swerve down, because why does the fucking guy that they really is the most popular guy involved here need to come out with 4 or 5 other fucking guys? What was your question?
Should it just be Swerve and Nana?
Yes, of course. It's ridiculous to have those. They're extraneous, and it just distracts. It negates some of the effect of what you're trying to do. But anyway, so Swerve says, it's like with Paige, Joe, it's not personal, it's just business. I just want the AEW title, and I'm going to take it. That was his summation. He delivers his shit very well, which is why he didn't need these 5 guys standing behind him. But then as they go for their face-off, and okay, Swerve and Joe, this could be interesting. You've been talking about it. Okay. They play fucking Paige's music, and here comes the hangnail to do what all hangnails do. Be a minor pain and irritation on the side of something that's important. And I wrote, why is he in the way of this? And he got in and he tried to put bass in his voice, and he growled at him, and he didn't say anything in an interesting way, but he wants the AEW title too. So all right, oh, Jesus Christ, with Tony's fixation with 3-ways, he's never actually been in one in private, so he loves to book them in public. But then what they did was, after Paige vents his shit, and he and Swerve get in each other's face, they were so close in each other's face, Swerve could smell his own blood on Paige's breath. Nana pulls Swerve out. No, don't get it. He pulls him away, and the heels are the first ones to leave. They got 5 guys. And he pulled, instead of saying, well, fuck you for disrespecting my guy. Hey, 3 henchmen, come over here and help Swerve kick the shit out of this fucking cowboy. But so Nana pulls Swerve out, and they leave. And then Paige gets up in Joe's face, and he leaves. And then as Joe's standing there glorifying that he's the champion, they play Hook's music. I guarantee you, Tony said, fuck them on Twitter. He set up a world title match for Hook over this whole goddamn Twitter dressing down that he got. Didn't you see this?
Yeah, I saw
How
this.
the fuck? And Hook comes out with his belt that they've given him. And he gets in the ring and gets face to face with Samoa Joe and holds up one finger. And they're talking to each other, but they don't have a microphone. And the announcers say, I think he just said 1 week. And Hook walks out. And then they announce after the break next week for the title, Joe versus Hook. And Hook has come out and given Joe an ultimatum, a timeline of what? So not only did they have something interesting with Swerve and Joe, even though they're both heels, they're both very popular. And because they couldn't leave that alone, they stuck hangnail in there to fucking hang off the side of it, and then confused the issue by having, and let's face it, Hook is a very minute, small, young rookie fellow next to Joe, and this shouldn't be competitive. It shouldn't be. I'm sorry, but it shouldn't be. And it probably will be, to further dilute the issue, just because Tony got his feelings hurt on Twitter about how he was setting up fucking matches with Hook versus Jinder Mahal versus whatever the fuck. My God. Your thoughts?
Again, Tony just complained about Jinder Mahal losing winning no matches for a year and getting into this thing with Seth Rollins. Adam Page lost 2 high-profile matches to Swerve Strickland. Swerve just lost in the tournament. Hook is a made-up title. Samoa Joe was good here. And then it turned into a bunch of challengers coming out. The Adam Page thing worries me.
That's what Swerve. Can you imagine if Swerve had won that tournament at least, and he could come out there draped with all those phony fucking belts with Nana, and at least it would look good, and then he wants Joe. Instead, we got Japanese jack-off fantasies amongst American people and a goddamn losing streak for everybody involved in the world title picture.
What concerns me is that Adam Page has lost 2 times to Swerve. So my hope is that this is not to set up a third match to get a title shot against Joe and he's going to finally get his win, because there's nothing right now for Adam Page versus Joe. Joe's just going to be a monster babyface. Joe versus Swerve with some build can be a good match, but it could be good TV. These are 2 personalities that are over and that the fans are really into. If they throw Adam Page in this to get his win back, that derails Swerve a little bit, and it's unnecessary right now. But that's, as soon as he came out, that was my thought. Oh, he's going to get his win back from Swerve and get that title shot.
I'm hoping they go straight to a 3-way and get it over with. Because it's ruined for me now anyway. Unless they can somehow get rid of Page and Hook don't last long. Good Lord. But is Tony aware of these things, Brian? Do you think he is? Is Tony Khan aware of these things, or does he live in a bubble and he can't listen to anything that he doesn't agree with?
I think Tony is deep inside the wrestling bubble, and there's a lot of people that are. They're big fans.
No. He's not in the wrestling. He's in his own bubble.
Well, no, it's the wrestling bubble. It's a wrestling fandom bubble. And there's a lot of people. He's deep in it, and he doesn't understand what normal wrestling... He doesn't understand why normal people like wrestling. He doesn't understand how to put together a wrestling show. He doesn't understand why people are over or who's over. He doesn't understand how to make segments make sense. He doesn't understand any of this. A lot of the lessons he learned from fucking ECW, and they're all wrong. Even if they work there in the time and the place, and they don't work as well when you look back. But he always does the wrong thing, and he always justifies it. Look at what Cage Match says. Those are people deep in the bubble of wrestling. Like, if the choice is between going out and meeting someone or watching the latest Japanese tape right away, watching something right away from somewhere else, they're going to do that. Like, they're deep in the bubble. That comes first. But they appreciate wrestling, or some may say they appreciate wrestling in a way that other fans don't. And they have a problem with anyone who doesn't see things the way they do or appreciate it the way they think they're supposed to. But in reality, they're out of step and out of touch with the wide wrestling audience. That's the issue. Tony is deep in the bubble. Dave Meltzer, not to take a shot at him, but he's deep in the wrestling bubble. Some of these guys don't understand what the real world is like outside of 24 hours a day wrestling. And it's an unhealthy thing.
Well said.
And it's an unhealthy thing. It really is.
Awareness of the wider surroundings. Tony needs an awareness mode because Tony right now is unfortunately in his own little noise-isolated bubble. And he needs to click on his awareness mode so that he can understand that the majority of people around him are going, what the fuck's wrong with you, Tony? And, I think, should we chip in, Brian, and buy him a pair of the Raycon everyday wireless earbuds?
No.
So he could have his own awareness mode?
No. He needs a self-awareness mode, and he's got enough money. Well, his dad has enough money. He can get his own Raycon.
Well, he can get his and then he can have his own in-house laboratory there, the test facility down at Jaguar Central. They can make a self-awareness mode and stick it on the Raycon wireless earbuds. Because, folks, I'll tell you what, we've talked about all the other products they've branched out into over the last year or two, but you can't go any further than the crown jewel product from Raycon, the wireless earbuds, the optimized gel tips, the perfect in-ear fit, and you can't tell me that's what Tony doesn't have stuck in his head. He just hasn't hit the button to turn on his awareness mode, because you can isolate yourself from all the noise of the outside world, all of the criticisms and the complaints and the disasters and the stresses and the ass chewings and the screamings and the backstage brawls. You won't hear a lick of that. You're going to be listening to only what you want to, just like Tony does. Only what you care to hear, just like Tony does, except yours is going to be music or news or podcasts, whereas his is Tony's the Booker of the Year on a loop 24/7. So, with the 3 customizable sound profiles and all these basic earbud tap functions that take you into other places and other dimensions, it's so groovy. It'll be a journey through the center of your mind when you go to buyraycon.com/JCE and get 15% off your Raycon order. You hear the mood music creeping in, and free shipping. Buyraycon.com/JCE, 15% off and free shipping on the earbuds that Tony Khan obviously has surgically implanted inside his skull, because you're not going to hear anything that you don't want to hear.
Yeah, with Raycon.
Yeah.
But you can also hear whatever you want to hear.
Well, that's another way of saying it.
That's another. Well, no, it's 2 different things. You can.
No, you're not going to hear anything that you don't want to hear. Means the exact same thing as you're going to hear only stuff that you want to hear, or whatever you said.
You will only hear what you want to hear. I guess so. I guess that does exclude it. Well, Raycon, they're great. What's that promo code, Jim?
/JCE. And remember, we've talked about don't use a sharp knife on your computer screen. Buy, B-U-Y, Raycon, RAYCON.com/JC, 15% off, free shipping. Listen to what you want to listen to. Oh, listen to the music.
Oh, God.
Right now.
Not that. Where's silence mode, or do you have awareness mode on? Maybe you need that.
Well, I'm aware of everything except the next line. Yeah. What was it? On a lazy morning river. All right, nevertheless. Right.
Which doobie you be, the tone deaf one?
Which doobie you be?
That's right. It's one of the greatest lines in the history of What's Happening. Which doobie you be?
I didn't watch What's Happening. I was out earning an honest living.
I was in the What's Happening bubble.
Yeah, see, that brief period of time, 3-4 days a week between time I started going to all the wrestling shows and the time of a VCR, I didn't see a lot of primetime television.
And then they brought it back like 10 years later as What's Happening Now, but rerun was like difficult. He wanted more money, so they just dropped him.
Well, the thing is, there wasn't much happening.
But there's more happening with Raycon.
But no, there's not. We were done with that.